This week on Socratic Cinema.
Oh, occupational racism.
Yes, occupational racism.
There we go.
Like systemic, personal, occupational.
This is Socratic Cinema reporting live from Mass.
From Mass.
Yeah, Kasey's a bisexual, I'm an agnostic, and you're a centrist. We all have our own. Welcome back to another episode of Socratic Cinema. My name is Charlie Heatherly.
My name is James DeLisio.
And I'm Kasey Clark.
And today we are talking about one of my favorite movies. I will say that. I really love this movie. Lady Bird.
Ooh la la.
A stunner of a film by Greta Gerwig. Absolutely phenomenal. I believe this is the movie that sort of acted as her breakout film. I believe it's her sophomore production, I guess you could say. And I think that she hit it out of the gosh darn park. This movie hits so many incredible coming of age tropes in such fresh and innovative ways. I love the characters. I love the setting, a really strange setting, but I think that it worked out incredibly well. And I'm very curious what you guys thought about it, because this is my second time seeing it. So I am your Lady Bird guru.
Oh.
But please, I guess we'll start with Kasey. What did you think about the movie?
I really liked the movie. Like, I kind of got like all the hype from Lady Bird, but I had never seen it before. Like, it was definitely like oh yeah, well, Timothy Chalamet's in it and Saoirse Ronan's in it, and then it had all this like all the award season buzz, but I never got around to watching it. And it's like a really good coming of age story, and not in the way that you would like expect. Like, it's really like heartfelt, but it's also really, really funny, which I appreciate because it can't be like sad all the time. And it just feels like really real, real and realistic situation. Like, I mean, I've never gone to a Catholic school, but the experiences that we see Lady Bird going through in a Catholic school, I'm like, yes, I feel like that would happen. And it's
your
just
best
very,
guess.
yeah, just my best guess. I'm like, oh yeah, I can see the people at St. Lucy's doing this or something. And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, wonderful. To clarify to people, St. Lucy's is a all-girls Catholic school near where we are.
It is?
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't know?
I'm Catholic, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, you should know about all of the all-girls Catholic schools near us.
I know of a couple Catholic. I know of, well, actually, no. Yeah, I didn't even know we had one of those near us.
We have several sort of one-gender Catholic schools here in California. I believe we've said that we live in California before. But
yeah, don't worry, we're fine.
We got Damien as well. That's all boys.
Oh,
I know about that one.
Yeah. Oh, so, just only know about the boys one, James? I see how it is.
I know.
Yikes.
I have a lot of friends that go to St. Lucy's, and they all say that this movie is like 100% accurate. And I can sort of attest to a little bit of the religious teachings in there, because I went to a private school that wasn't really religious, but it sort of was. So I get some of the stuff that's going on here. And yeah, Kasey, you're entirely right. This is all pretty accurate to what actually goes on in real life. But James, what did you think of the movie?
I loved Little Women with Greta Gerwig and Saoirse Ronan and Timothy Chalamet. No. I'm not going to tell the story. I've told the story enough. But I was a huge fan of Little Women, and so I was really excited to see the Dream Team come into Lady Bird too, even though Lady Bird was released, 2 years earlier. I don't know. Anyways, I really liked Little Women too. Little Women felt very, like Kasey was saying, it was humorous but also emotional, and I think that's something that's very kind of crucial to sort of the theme of the movie. I thought the mother-daughter relationship was one of the most nuanced and well-acted relationships I've seen recently in film, and that relationship is sort of the core of the whole movie, is the mother-daughter. Like, there's a lot going on in this movie, but that sort of, to me, is the emotional core of it. But overall, I thought this film was very, very charming. I love the aesthetic and the cinematography and the soundtrack. And as a high school senior living in California who was also Catholic, I felt very seen by this movie. I felt utterly represented. I get very excited seeing like Catholicism stuff in film, and a lot of times, like, it gets a bad rap. I mean, that's a pretty common trope is like, we just did an episode on Devil All the Time, guys. Come on, we know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was really funny. Like, I found myself laughing to myself just about all the things I was seeing in this very Catholic religious environment, and just being like, "Yup, that is definitely like real. That's definitely how that works." Um, and it was just so kind of refreshing to have a movie that takes place in California that wasn't just all about Los Angeles. Learning about
Yeah.
like hearing about the UC schools and like UC Davis and stuff. I was thinking Disneyland. I was like, hey, I know this stuff. This is me. I felt very we're a very good target audience for this movie. It felt like looking in a mirror.
Oh, I know. Well, it would have been better if we were drama students, because
I'm
this
glad I'm not a
movie
drama student.
gets drama kids right. Like, my sister
Yes.
is sort of a drama kid. Like, she did theater and things like that, but she never played Zip Zap Zop, so not really a drama kid. But like, oh my gosh, the way that they had the cast relationships, all of that drama behind the scenes where two people like the same guy, but then the guy is gay secretly. That's a big thing. That's
Yeah.
legitimately a massive thing in a lot of theater productions. And all of those sort of ways that the characters bounced off of each other were, as you guys said, incredibly realistic and insanely funny. I don't know who wrote the script for this movie, if it was Greta Gerwig, but
I'm on it.
Greta Gerwig gets great scriptwriters for all of her films, and I think that certainly this one is a great example of that. Again, I was really happy to see the dream team of Timothy Chalamet Ding Dong and Saoirse Ronan back together again.
It was written by Greta Gerwig, and I would like to point out, I searched Lady Bird writer and Greta Gerwig's like Google, how Google like has the actual responses at the top, not just like a link. The
Mhm.
Greta Gerwig card popped up, and it says people also search for some directors: Saoirse Ronan, Timothy Chalamet, Louisa May Alcott. People also search for Louisa May Alcott, and I just thought that was very fun.
Who is Louisa May Alcott?
The author of Little Women and its sequel,
Oh.
Little Men and Joe's Boys.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, very, very influential writer.
Well, I'm glad to see that Greta Gerwig is, as multi-talented as I thought she would be. The first point I want to talk about personally, because I think that this is at the or not the crux of the film, but it's a major part of it, is the way that romantic relationships are shown. Specifically between Kyle and Lady Bird, and then I think his name is Danny?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Danny.
So we've all been in relationships or are in relationships if you're a certain someone on this podcast. So we all have a bit of experience knowing how these things go down. I'm interested. What did you guys think about this? Did you think it was a realistic portrayal of teenage love? Do you think they finally got it right? Because I know a lot of 80s movies sort of romanticize it all a bit much. Is this the real portrayal that you were looking for?
I think that's kind of a hard generalization to make, because I mean every relationship is so kind of unique and different, and I don't know if there's necessarily like one universal experience. I mean, okay. The relationship between Lady Bird and Kyle is not a good one, guys.
Yeah.
That was really rough
Yeah.
to watch. And
Oh Lord.
if anything, that one, like, maybe I'm not in a position to say if that is a realistic relationship or not. It started to tiptoe into it started to tiptoe into Riverdale-y territory, in my opinion. But I don't know.
Oh.
Like, really?
Yeah, maybe just a
That's
touch. I mean,
like
it had a, it obviously no, that's an overstatement. That's too much. Riverdale is it's too far off. But
like more teen soap.
yeah, it felt a little teen soapy. I thought the Danny and Lady Bird was very realistic and kind of had the sort of innocence to it, before we learn that Danny, is gay. It had the sort of innocence and kind of like first timiness that encapsulates high school relationships to me. But that's just my take. I thought both of them were very well acted, but I really did like seeing Lady Bird and Danny's relationship throughout the movie, and I think Danny honestly had one of like the best arcs in the movie. I'm just gonna say it, but that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Or go ahead, Kasey.
Oh, I was just gonna speak on the Danny part because Danny really does have a really good arc, even though we only see like maybe like a few scenes with him. Like we see him and Lady Bird dating. I mean, scenes relating to his arc. So we have the dating, we have the getting exposed for being like essentially getting outed, and then we have
Yeah.
like the resolution of Lady Bird like not outing him further and be like, okay, I'm gonna keep it a secret. But then it's obvious that they kind of stay friends
Yeah.
because he like comes back and talks about like the wait list, and then that's a whole nother um side thing going on in the movie. But like we don't really see him for a big chunk of the movie.
Yeah, I think the fact that he comes to that family dinner at the end where they do find out about the late wait list, I think the fact that Danny like came to the post-graduation dinner is enough to sort of go off of and say that they probably stayed friends, which I really like to see too, because I mean, that was just I don't know, it's nice to see that they kind of ended on more or less good terms. It's just sort of
Yeah.
a sign that like drama may seem big in high school, but like stuff moves pretty quickly. And I wanted to say on that note, I thought the progression of time in this movie was really interesting. It spans a whole year, but it does it in a way that doesn't feel super disjointed. I feel like a lot of times movies, they are, meant to take place over a longer period of time, but you wouldn't know it unless you had like this shot where, oh, it's snowing now, time has passed, but the
Right.
actual events of the
Mhm.
movie feel like, a week. But I thought Lady Bird did a good job of actually showing that time is, moving and people are changing through things like how Lady and Danny Bird's relationship changes, going from just broken up because you cheated on me and were gay, to becoming friends again is a process that takes time. So I'm glad Lady Bird didn't try and squish that all into one, like week-long time span. I thought they did a good job at spreading things out.
It's really a
Yeah.
mark of Greta Gerwig's style of filmmaking and just picking which story she wants to tell. I mean, her two main films are Lady Bird and Little Women, and in both of them, they heavily deal with the passage of time, right? In Lady
Mhm.
Bird, it's over a year, but I think that they do a great job with the pacing in this movie, keeping everything fresh and exciting. Because Kasey very eloquently pointed out that like we don't see a lot of Danny in this film. Like he's sort of his relationship with Lady Bird is very quick and very brief, but it feels like you know him a lot. So
Mhm.
I think that Greta Gerwig obviously has a very good understanding of how to pack a lot into a little, but this sort of manipulation of time and making it still seem coherent to the viewer is something that was integral to Little Women. I mean, that movie takes two entirely different time plot line area things, like two different times, I guess, in the story and mixes them together. And she found this, technique using the warm and cool lighting to sort of show you which timeline we're in, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and to me, it feels like if she's going to make another film, there's probably enough evidence to show that it's going to have something to do with the passage of time or how people grow over time. Greta Gerwig is a very big picture director rather than focusing on sort of the little moments. And you see that with this film's central message between the relationship of Lady Bird and her mother. Like,
Mhm.
this is something that has been developing and rotting and regenerating over the course of their entire lives. And
Yeah.
that's made very
Yeah.
clear in lots of different ways. And the final reconciliation of it does not feel like it was just 1 year. It doesn't feel like it was a rough year for them, right? It was a buildup that was taking Lady Bird's entire life, and only then did it finally get resolved. So that's just something I noticed about Gerwig's style of filmmaking that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Do you wanna know what Greta Gerwig's next movie is gonna be?
Yes.
Um, the live action Barbie movie starring Margot Robbie. She
What?
will be joined in directing the live action Barbie movie with Marriage Story director Noah Baumbach.
Oh, they're dating in real life.
Yeah, they are.
Really?
What an insane
Mhm.
power couple, and I trust no one better to make the Barbie movie.
Yes.
I just wanna say also, I think Margot Robbie is possibly the best choice to play a live action Barbie. That's such good casting.
Definitely.
That's such good casting.
Mhm.
I could think of no one better.
Wait, how is this real? Is it like, why did they get these two? Is it a kids movie? Like what?
Yeah, because neither Greta Gerwig nor Noah Baumbach. Is it Batch or Batch? I don't know.
Baumbach, maybe?
I think it's Baumbach. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Neither of them are really kids directors, so that will be interesting. But it's Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, so it'll probably be good.
Barbie in a quarter life crisis.
her shelf life.
Her shelf life.
Wait, well, yeah. Wait, how do you even make a live action Barbie movie if the whole point is that she's a doll? Though
They made a live action Dora.
Yeah, but Dora's thing is not being a doll; it's being a person.
Yeah,
like, Barbie is very distinctly a doll.
It's like a live action Toy Story.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Guys, I'm really scared for I know this is off topic, but I'm really scared for my jaw health. I yawned this morning and I felt something like slip. And now I'm really scared.
No.
Everything's fine. I feel fine, but every time I yawn, I'm afraid it's gonna like dislocate.
So my theory that you're the jaw titan cannot be
right.
Then.
We came straight off of watching the new episode of Attack on Titan, season 4, guys. It was pretty crazy.
Oh man,
it was pretty nuts. Can we talk about religion for a little bit, you guys?
Yeah.
James's favorite topic to bring
He's
up.
like, can we talk religion?
This is the one thing this is what I know. No, but I just thought there was a lot of religious imagery. Obviously, there was a lot of religious imagery. She goes to a Catholic high school, but I think they used Lady Bird's relationship with religion kind of as an overarching symbol that sort of reflects the plot arc as a whole. And I also just want to talk about the Catholic high school setting because that's a very fun setting and it was very accurate and I think added a lot of charm. But I say so essentially the arc of the film is that Lady Bird sort of starts out kind of ostracized and disconnected from her family, and she disconnects herself from Jules through her, kind of branching out relationship with Kyle, finding her own way, coming of age, leave the nest, come back, right? So I thought it was interesting that just how Lady Bird in the beginning of the film is sort of disconnected from her mother, and then by the end they come to a sort of understanding, but it's still a little bit rocky. In the very first montage of Catholic school, you remember that, like the fun Catholic schooly montage to music where we're seeing like them going to church and hearing the readings and all that. We see Lady Bird and her students going up to receive communion, which is not only a distinctly Catholic thing, just sort of making the most use of the setting, but it's interesting because unlike all the other students, Lady Bird does not receive communion. She does the little I'm doing it now, but you can't see. There's like a hand cross gesture that you do. You like cross your arms, and that's your way of like signaling to the priest, like, hey, I'm not going to receive communion. Which is interesting because that's sort of like almost as if Lady Bird's sort of, I mean, communion literally is like the union, between the people in the church and God, right? That's what it's about. And so just as Lady Bird is disconnected from her family, we also sort of see here that she's disconnected herself from religion. She's not in union with it. But then in the very last scene of the movie, as she's trying to like come to terms with her mother and reconnect, she goes to a church. She goes to a Catholic church in New York and watches the choir before making up with her mom. And I just thought it was a very interesting sort of transformation from seeing Lady Bird like actively reject sort of God or the faith, whatever, to sort of coming back to it and almost like a coming home kind of scene. And I just thought that Lady Bird's relationship with religion in the film was very interesting as sort of a symbol for her relationship with her family at large. That was my big brain connection that I really liked. I don't know. That's all.
No, I think you're entirely right. The interesting thing about it is I don't think her family is necessarily Catholic.
No,
Like,
they're not, which is interesting.
Yeah. So it represents a huge personal journey.
Right.
Or at least that's what I would think about it. So then we would probably have to go back to a time where she was, happy with religion and sort of vibing with it. And presumably she would be vibing with her mother then. But it's interesting to bring up that at the start of the movie, we're sort of brought into her having a bad relationship with her mother. And then additionally, it's also a bad relationship with religion. So yeah, no, I think you're entirely right. It's
for sure. It was just
a very personal metaphor.
Indeed.
Yeah, for me, I think the school, like the whole her being very like anti-religion, and Charlie makes a good point that like the family isn't explicitly Catholic, and I'm remembering a specific conversation with the mom where I guess the older brother Miguel had gone to a public school and saw someone get knifed, and that's why Lady Bird goes to the private Catholic school. But it makes a lot of sense that like if she's constantly like pushing back at her mom and feeling like controlled, and that she just wants to be like she just wants to be able to be herself, and putting her in like a situation in Catholic school, which in comparison to like public school, it's a more like restricted environment from what I know. And
you're right.
Okay. I just don't want to be like,
I mean the rules,
school.
the skirt length, the rules. I mean, most private schools are in general stricter, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I just feel like her not wanting to be in the religion or participate fully in the Catholic school is just like another sort of point of rebellion with her mom, and like how her mom, even sending her to the Catholic school, creates an anxiety within her mom, because obviously like a lot of affluent people go there, and it kind of brings up that tension as well, with Lady Bird being surrounded by affluent people and wanting to do not necessarily affluent things, but just the whole overarching theme that she's like ungrateful, and how that like creates conflict with her mother.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good sort of tie-in. I didn't think about that, the tie-in with the religion and also the economic themes in the movie, because there are for sure a lot of big class themes. But I'm thinking now, like, while we're sort of on this train of like religion as sort of a symbol for Lady Bird's journey as a whole, I'm thinking about the conversation she has with the guy at the party when she goes off to college at the end of the movie. She sort of like, her icebreaker question to him is, do you believe in God? And he says, no, that's stupid, blah, blah, blah. And she almost like scorns the idea that, like, she almost sort of scorns atheism. She's like, people, what did she say? She says like, we call each other by names that our parents made up for us, and yet we think it's stupid to believe in God. Which is, I'm trying to think of how does that fit in with her own like journey, because she goes from her being the one who sort of scoffs at religion to her making fun of other people who scoff at religion to finally coming back to religion herself. It's just that conversation stuck out to me. Like, as I was watching the movie, I was thinking like, oh, this is probably something that has some meaning behind it. And I'm not 100% satisfied with how I see that fitting into our idea. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think is the significance of that conversation?
I got you, fam.
Take it away.
So does anyone remember what her real name is, by the way?
Christine.
Christine. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too, that she introduces herself as Christine in that scene.
Lady Bird and Christine are two different characters, essentially. Lady Bird is the representation of all of Christine's built up anxiety about going to a new place and sort of her turmoil in figuring out whether or not Sacramento is the place for her. It's the rebellion against the norms that she has been given and that she's been dealing with her entire life. Like Kasey said, oh, I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. Like that sort of whole, she's internalizing a lot of the struggle that she had because she was growing up poor in a very affluent place. And she's putting that into this character, essentially, of Lady Bird. So when she's saying to this guy, well, it's pretty ridiculous that, you think that because we just, automatically will call ourselves by the names that other people give us. Like, we don't even make that decision. She's effectively telling the Lady Bird character, I don't believe in you anymore. Like, I've gone past you. Because now she's being consistent with her logic. She's saying, my name is Christine, and she's also come back to Catholicism, right?
I see.
Check mark on both sides. If she was saying, well, that's really dumb, and then still calling herself Lady Bird, it would be inconsistent. So
right, because that would be, I see. She would be. I got it. Okay, I see. I'm trying to put it into words, but my brain's moving faster than my mouth can. I totally see what you're saying, and that's interesting because in that conversation when she says that, and then about the names, and then the guy asks for her name, I expected her to be like, "Oh, well, I'm different. I made my own name. I'm Ladybird." But she does. We see that she's grown past the rebellious atheist teenage phase, right? And not to sound like, the sign of maturity is becoming religious, That's not what I'm trying to say, but like it's all symbolism, guys. It's just a symbol.
Yeah. Her Lady Bird character is all of that teenage angst, and she's finally dropping it. And yeah, like you said, maturing into somebody that can be comfortable within societal norms, essentially, right? Because she was always saying, oh, it's so stupid how, we don't even get to choose our own names, right? Like she was saying that earlier in the film, and now it's a complete role reversal. So yeah, it's just a line to sort of foreshadow the next 10 minutes or however long it takes to get to the end of the film. But
that's really good, though. I think, good stuff, team.
Yeah. And I think also, like, I definitely want to talk about how I think the silent treatment from her mom and like kind of just spurred on this like maturity, because I feel like up until the point where it gets revealed that she was going behind her mom's back, like completely obviously like wrecked their relationship, which I guess we could say, I don't even know if we could say it was getting better, but in comparison from like the beginning of the film where
I'd say it was getting better.
Yeah, where like they could not like stand to be around each other, to where they're starting to communicate more, like Ladybird's getting out of her, or Christine is getting out of her like head and becoming more like self-aware instead of like self-conceited and stuff like that, and shit, and like seeing like, oh well, my dad's struggling, I need to like not necessarily help him there, but just more like real life reality things kind of keep smacking her in the face. And no matter, like, I feel like the mom is a very like complex character. Like she is kind of like the epitome of kind of like the never-ending circle of emotional abuse.
Right.
Because it's like this very, not necessarily a throwaway line, but it was when Ladybird's coming back from her date and her mom's getting on her case about her like folded clothes and how, oh, yada yada, how you look's going to affect everything else, including like whether or not your dad can get hired and stuff like that. And Ladybird has like this great point of like, haven't you ever not folded your clothes perfectly? Haven't you ever like wished that your mom didn't get angry? And then the mom just kind of responds like, my mom was an abusive alcoholic, and like closes the door and leaves.
That was
like,
big.
oh.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the full circle of like the mom throughout the entire movie is kind of placed as the antagonist to the Ladybird section of Christine's life. And I feel like when the mom no longer becomes that antagonist, at least like verbally, in the consistency that we've seen over the movie beforehand, like I feel like that was kind of what spurred on the change in persona. And even like going back to the church, like for me it was like, oh, like obviously she might be going into the church to reconnect with her religion, but also like what was the major thing that her mom wanted her to do and to take care of is being able to go to that Catholic school, which is like, oh, maybe she went and then had like some sort of emotional shift to be like, all right, now's the time that I need, like, if I'm going to try to make up with my mom, now's the time to do it. And it's just a really interesting like turn of events, I think.
Yeah, it's all kind of connected. There's all these separate struggles that Lady Bird's having, like her religious struggle and her struggle with her mom and her economic struggle, but they're all essentially telling the same story about maturing. And I mean, it's a coming of age story, so of course it's about maturing. But I thought this was interesting. Her real name is Christine, which, according to babynames.com, means follower of Christ, which is just another really, I think, interesting sort of add on to the religious symbolism pile. Seeing her go from and Lady Bird, Lady Bird Johnson, Claudia Alta Taylor, was the wife of Lyndon B. Johnson, so she was the first lady. Which I just thought that was really interesting, that she has the Lady Bird persona. Maybe the fact that it was Lyndon B. Johnson's wife is significant. I'm not sure. I'd have to recall my Lyndon B. Johnson knowledge, but I think it's interesting that she goes from this sort of political, very secular name, and then in the end of the film, as she matures, she sort of reclaims her birth name, which quite literally means follower of Christ, as we also see her reconnect with her faith. It's just, there's so many layers on layers here that all kind of work together. I think it's very, very impressive writing.
Well, the whole Lady Bird Johnson thing, the reason why I think Christine chose the name Lady Bird is because Lady Bird Johnson was sort of the modern model of an active first lady. Because before that time, I mean, I guess you had Eleanor Roosevelt, but Lady Bird Johnson was like, she was interacting with Congress. I think she was the first lady to interact with Congress directly. She also had a highway beautification bill called Lady Bird's Bill or something like that. So she was very, sort of forward pushing the role of women inside of government and politics.
As long as we're talking powerful first ladies, I know you're not disrespecting Abigail Adams right now, right? Include Abigail Adams in there.
Abigail Adams was cool, I guess. I'll say that. Hey, we needed an Abigail Adams recently. I was worried about the paintings on the Capitol when they were storming it. I was like, oh my gosh,
man.
Where is Abigail Adams when you need her? She did this in 1814 or 1812 for the War of 1812 when the British came. Where is she now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Huh, I forgot about that.
I hope the paintings weren't injured. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was like trying to find herself as a powerful woman, and Lady Bird Johnson happened to be the role model for her.
And we know that she's not a Republican at the very least. I mean, she uses
that line was so
she uses Republican as an insult, and then she also sort of like scoffs at the fact that Danny's grandma has a unironic Reagan poster. So we know that Lady Bird is most definitely not a Republican. Maybe if she was, she would have made her like persona name be Melania or something.
Stop.
Oh,
or,
wow.
What's it? Liberty Hangout. Caitlin Bennett. Her name would have been Gun Girl.
Please, no.
Dude, Liberty Hangout is so scary.
You know what? I recommend that you watch those Gun Girl videos just to like learn to hate Caitlin Bennett, because wow, they are such a roller coaster to watch.
My favorite like Caitlin Bennett story is that it's just like apparently common knowledge from that during her college days, she like she infamously soiled her pants at a college party. And so there was this like clip of an interview, and she's like, she's going up to this random college student, as she does, and she's like, how do you feel about men being allowed in the women's restroom or whatever now? And he was like, how do you feel about the fact that you like crapped your pants at a college party? And then she's like, why are you bringing that up?
So good.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Like, I feel bad, but also like she's coming onto college campuses, just like randomly assailing these kids. It's like, yeah.
Oh yeah,
buying
she knows
it.
what she's doing, and
She
when
knows
people
what
are
she's doing.
self-aware about it, then
Yeah. No,
they
it's all
can
antagonistic.
get what's
If
exactly.
Caitlin Bennett ever targets you, you know what to say.
You know what to say, doo-doo pants.
She's getting used to it. She's like saying, "Yeah, no, I did that." Like Tyrion Lannister wearing it on her sleeve. So
See, but this is how the joke gets ruined. As soon as the person that the joke is about gets in on it, it starts to become not that funny. Do you guys remember? I might have talked about this already, but do you remember that Gabby Hanna thing? Like
Oh yeah, we talked
what if
about
I'm-
this. Talking about the Ratatouille movie.
It's not as funny when they get in on it. But now that we can say we're at the point now where the Ratatouille musical happened, so we can talk about whether it was good or not.
do you know whether it was good or not?
I didn't watch it either. I wasn't spending
Apparently
$5.
it's on YouTube.
It was all virtual though. Like it wasn't even a. I was expecting it for some reason to be like an actual play, but COVID. I should have known better.
Oh wait, was it all like a Zoom call?
Yeah, it was all like pre-recorded.
Oh, that's
parts.
bad. Who cares?
And there was no costumes. Like Remy was just like a dude in a gray shirt. It was.
First of all, don't disrespect Titus Burgess.
I'm just gonna disrespect his costume designer.
It's just it's like, what's the most rat-like color?
I bet they just sent out like a
Just
blast
gives me a
email,
gray shirt.
and I bet they just sent out a mass email, and we're like, find whatever you have in your closets, and put
Monochromatic.
something together.
Put something together. Oh my gosh.
My sister watched it, and from what I hear, Titus Burgess was very non-convincing as Remy.
Oh, ouch.
Jeez.
I hate to hear it.
Seething. The TikTok people, the ones that actually came up with the songs, were the best ones.
Oh,
That
great.
makes sense.
The rest of them, like, had no clue what was going on.
I hope the guy who plays Bertram did well.
I hope he did too.
I
Wait,
hope he's doing good.
did you guys notice that Allie from Austin and Allie was in this movie?
Yes,
She was?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Morano or Moreno, I forgot what her name is, but she
Cool.
was the theater kid
With the bump it.
Yeah, who talked about like somebody committing suicide when they were really old.
Laura Morano was in Lady Bird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
She was the one.
I didn't notice her. Moving on.
But yeah.
What is Laura Morano up to these days?
She was in the movie with Noah Centineo.
The Perfect Date?
Yeah, that was her.
What?
Yikes.
Yeah, and
she was in Superbad?
She was in this is the Disney trick, because I really be thinking they're like 20 something in like the TV shows, but I know she.
Now Kasey's glitching.
Yeah. Okay. See, Kasey
in Austin and Allie, because what is this?
You're gonna have to try again on that one, Kasey. You spazzed out on us.
Okay. What I was saying is that Disney has conditioned me to think people are younger than they are. When it's like watching Austin and Allie, like we always.
Yeah. Again.
Kasey, I think we're just gonna have to move on.
In Austin and Allie, I'm like, okay, she's in her 20s or whatever, but she was probably in her 20s during like at Superbad if she was like, I don't know, a child or something.
No, she was definitely 20 in Austin and Allie, because like Austin and Allie took place in 2015, right? Or it didn't take place in
It started in 2011. Austin and Allie did, and Laura Morano was born in 95, and Superbad came out in 07. So she was.
Oh, she was like a child.
She was 13 in Superbad.
13. Okay.
So she's actually pretty young.
All that stuff goes out the window. Never mind. She's
Oh
only
my
like.
gosh.
I know. Ignore everything that I just repeated.
Wait,
you
you
glitched out again the second time, so it's fine.
Oh, great. We can just cut it all out.
Moving on.
Hey, Laura Morano's from USC. Let's go. But that's not what I wanted to talk about.
She is? She's smart.
Yeah. No, it's
Wow.
crazy. But Laura Morano reminded me about the best friend in this movie and another movie.
Yes. She's from
Booksmart.
Booksmart. I was like, Sid has something in smart.
Smart books.
Oh, I haven't seen Booksmart still.
Well, the crazy thing is, these movies are very similar. in how they're sort of about like two best friends growing up in high school. It's their senior year. They're trying to figure themselves out. This movie focuses a lot less on the best friend relationship and is very much more Lady Bird story. But
Right.
that actress who apparently is the sister of Jonah Hill or the cousin of Jonah Hill or is in some way related to Jonah Hill. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Is it niece? It might be niece.
I don't know.
I got no clue. Jonah Hill and her are related somehow, but besides the point. In Booksmart, she plays a very similar character, you know, a teenager senior at a high school who is, you know, just trying to sort of figure herself out in the final year of her schooling. And it's a weird typecast, but she plays it so well. So go watch Booksmart. It's phenomenal and a very different coming of age story that I think you will like. It touches a little bit more on some of the sexual themes that were present in this film and sort of ups them in Booksmart. But I recommend it. I think it's really cool.
You just reminded me somehow of the fact that this is the first time I've seen Timothée Chalamet play a jerk.
Doesn't he always though? I don't know. I feel like Timothée Chalamet's a jerk in real life. I don't know.
I probably didn't he give him? Didn't he like? I remember reading this story about how he like spread an STD all across his college campus or something.
Wow, Tim Tam. I can't believe it.
I remember the story that was rolling around with the paparazzi taking not suitable for work, but like his girlfriend ended up being like kind of, well, not racist in the way where it's like blatantly racist, but like racist in the way of like I'm a model and I do like black and yellow face.
Occupational racism.
Yes, occupational racism.
There we go.
Like systemic, personal, occupational.
All the subsects of racism.
But I don't know. I mean, I found Laurie very likable in Little Women.
You related to Laurie.
Yeah, I still found him likable. And I feel like, I mean, he plays kind of protagonistic characters generally. I mean, he's going to play the big guy in Dune, which I'm looking forward to. But it was weird to see him play like a super cynical, just straight up unpleasant guy. Like his character.
I don't believe in money.
His character.
I don't believe in money.
Is the worst. Kyle sucks. Well, he's the annoying kind of leftist, you know?
Well, he's the annoying leftist and then also sort of commits like a little bit of a, I don't know, sexual faux pas when he's like, yeah, no, I'm a virgin. And then it turns out he's not. Like, that's
Lord.
pretty wrong.
That's really...
And no one brings that up. See, people were so quick to jump on Diana Prince, not Diana Ross, in Wonder Woman 84 for taking advantage of that dude. But I don't see no one getting mad at Timothée Chalamet's character. This is the gender double standards, guys. Why are we so quick to get on the women but not the men, guys? It's time for Timothée Chalamet to take accountability for what his fictional character did. We need some serious ownership here.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but that was super like when that sort of reveal happened, I was upset for Lady Bird. I was like, dang, I already didn't like this guy, but that is a really big jerk move.
I'll be real. I forgot that he lied. I thought that he was being entirely truthful there because I did not remember the scene. I was like, he never said that, did he?
I
remember.
See, he gaslighted you.
He gaslit me.
You fell for it.
I did.
Fell for it.
I mean, of the like 3 scenes they have together,
the
2 relevant scenes to this twist are make those up. So I remembered for sure, and I was like, dang.
But like Kyle, as soon as I was like, ooh, this boy's gonna be trouble. And she was looking at him, hitting that bass, and I was like, oh no. I knew that he was gonna be an ass. And then his name was Kyle.
That was the nail in the coffin for me.
I
was happy to see bass player representation though. When I saw Timothée,
that's true. But he was an ass.
When I was innocent, before I knew what happened, and I saw Timothée Chalamet playing the bass, I was like, yes, bass player representation. And then after like his plot was over, I was like, bass player representation.
Is that not accurate?
No, as a bass player, no.
As a bass
Oh,
player,
okay.
I'd like to be
Okay.
excluded from this
I
narrative.
am the model bass player minority of not a gaslighter.
Bro, that
I
was
did
really upsetting,
it
though.
was really
Yeah.
upsetting. I did really like the shot, though, of her painting her room, and she paints over the names.
Oh, yeah.
That was really
Mhm.
satisfying to me. And also, going back to our whole coming of age thing, interesting to see her, like, paint over her, I guess, ladybirdish, childlike pink room with all this writing on the walls to a more mature, neutral white. You know, let's just throw some color theory on it while we're at it, right? I thought that was good.
All right.
Yeah.
Fine. If we're doing theories, 7. No, I'm kidding.
Which one
I
represents
think
lust? All of them.
every
All
single
of
one.
them.
Well, have you ever been to even remotely heard of a Catholic school, James? That's what happens at them.
I know, I'm sure. I saw
Very
someone,
bad at breeding obedience there, weirdly enough.
I saw someone once say that the best way to ensure that your kids aren't good Catholics is to send them to Catholic school.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yikes.
I
Sorry
mean,
to anyone who went to Catholic school and considers themselves a good Catholic. I'm sure you're great.
no, just sorry if you went to Catholic school. I apologize for the experience. I'm sure it was difficult.
Damn.
Yikes.
Look, those schools. I don't think I've ever told this story on air, but it's really funny. I went on a tour of Damien, which is the all boys Catholic school. Now,
Right.
I am not Catholic. I am not even really religious. I'm agnostic, so I'm like the chill one. I'm just like whatever,
Chill
man.
one.
But
these agnostics, man, they don't pick a side and let it get to
Hey,
their head.
man. This agnostic bisexual logic is.
yeah,
Pick a
Kasey's a
side.
bisexual. I'm an agnostic, and you're a centrist. We all have our own.
Eccentric.
Our own version.
We're all indecisive.
We're
Yeah,
all indecisive.
I don't want to hear it. But basically, I go to this school, and the guys taking us around are super nice. But then we come across this group of boys who are just chilling, and our tour guide's like, "Oh, these are my bros," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, these are his bros." And then one of them, without even introducing himself, goes, "Hi there, guys," in a perfect Mickey voice, and says, "Oh, you want to watch porn?" And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Let's slow down there, Mickey. What are you saying?" But this Mickey guy was a perfect representation of the Catholic experience because that's what happens. And that's what happens in Lady Bird as well when they're eating all of the wafers, right? And they're talking about
that made me mad. That made me really upset. I
That was
"That's
so funny.
and they're
I'm
talking about all the
sorry."
different ways that they're,
Yeah.
doing the
all right,
thing.
listen, this is a family podcast.
This is an R-rated movie, I would like to say.
We didn't put a disclaimer at the start, though. It's too late now.
Disclaimer.
But Charlie's
Listen,
already-
hold on. I'm just like, okay, make fun of me all you want, but I am just gonna say this. If instead of them eating unconsecrated wafers, that was like, them making fun of any other religion, this movie would have been canceled instantly. I'm just saying. I just want to point it out, right? If
No, fair.
like if
yeah.
that scene was instead of them eating, unconsecrated communion wafers, if this was like an all Muslim school or something, and it was like I don't know, them doing something that's offensive to Muslim people. I don't know, something with pork, but like it would have been canceled, right?
Different.
How,
They're
dude?
different.
No,
Communion is the most sacred thing in Catholicism. That's literally what it's all about. Like,
Feels a little weird that they manufacture them though. Like,
I mean, how
I
else
would-
do you?
How else?
well, I was thinking about
Charlie's
that. I
they
was
need
like,
a-
I wish they just apparated. That would be better.
they've made the body of God inside of a machine in some factory in Illinois. It just feels a bit strange to me. I don't know.
Yeah, we can. I'm not gonna get on you for that. As an anarcho-primitivist, I'm happy to talk about the corruptions of technology.
Man, I just thought it was funny. They're just munching on.
No,
them
it
like
was funny. It was
Cheez-Its.
funny. Like, it was for sure funny.
And then Doris being like, "You can't eat those."
They don't
They're
taste
not-
very good. They're just
wouldn't
flour
eat
and
them.
water.
I want to try one.
Become a Catholic.
Do you have any in your
Or
kitchen that I could just munch
fellowship.
on?
Or fellowship.
Fellowship.
Well, because I know
True.
specifically Catholic wafers, there's a lot of requirements. It has to be unleavened flour and water, and that's it.
Bro, we at these
at these non-denominationals,
at
man,
these
they know how to get down.
non-denominationals, they just be like, "Hey, they grew gluten free though."
Bro, we got whole wheat, we got sourdough.
got
what you- Oh my gosh.
Wait, can you make like like non-trademarked Catholic wafers at your own house then if you just like follow the recipe?
If you had unleavened
just
flour and water,
dried
sure.
out crackers.
Oh my gosh.
Not even crackers have more seasoning. Like these are just flour and water.
Mm-hmm.
They're just these little there's this a little circle wafer, and you just crunch, swallow.
Can I smear things on them?
He's like, can I put some lox on it?
Yeah, can I do like lox, peanut butter?
Charlie, I don't make fun of your religion, all right?
Yeah, you can't.
I just ask for a little courtesy here.
James, you literally just made fun of it. What are you talking about?
If I was Muslim, if I was Jewish, you wouldn't be making these kind of jokes.
You said these agnostics, they can't decide anything.
You don't have a side.
You touch the communion wafer.
I'm making fun of your lack of sides.
That is my side, though, is a neutral position.
I
can't believe it. I can't believe
it. This is the best episode we've ever recorded. All right, guys, we're going to go on a field trip to Mass next week. Get ready.
This is Socratic Cinema reporting live from Mass.
James, and here we see
do the symbol. How do I do the symbol?
Father.
How do you do the
top,
symbol?
Bottom, left,
is it one
right.
knee? Is it two?
Is it one?
It's whatever you want.
James, is this wine? I don't like drinking.
Good thing. All right, we'll have the theology. We'll have the theology lessons later.
Okay, but for real though, do you think that at Catholic schools it's grape juice or is it wine?
Wine. It has to be wine.
It has to be wine?
Yeah, it's wine.
Can it be a white wine or does it have to be a dry red?
It has to be. It's the blood of Jesus Christ.
As Kasey answered from the ghost universe, it has to be red wine.
No.
Okay. Can I dye white wine? I'm just trying to find all of the loopholes that I can go around here.
Just keep it going, guys.
James is losing.
We're at 52 minutes. We can be done whenever you want.
Oh, okay. Wow, you just pulled out your teacher voice. You said, we can be here all day if you want.
We can do this all day.
Mm-hmm. I get paid by the hour, so.
My brain was racing to make a joke about how Mass is traditionally an hour, and I just couldn't come up with anything funny in time. All right. Do any of you guys have anything helpful to say about our conversation before I wrap it up?
I'm sorry to Catholic school kids. Unless you had a good time, then I'm glad that you did.
Yeah, I'm sorry to Catholic school kids too. As a Catholic, I'm kind of glad I didn't go to Catholic school.
I know, wearing your skirts the right length sounds tough. I don't know.
Dress codes, lol.
Who needs them?
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, no, I have nothing else to add. I'm sorry for being sacrilegious, James. I'll go atone for my sins at the booth that you guys have outside the church. The confession one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I apologize.
It's not outside.
Kasey knows more than you, Charlie.
I've never been to a Catholic mass. If you cannot tell,
that's actually fair enough. I'm not going to hold you on
Kasey actively goes to church.
No, but I'm just thinking of it's like a kiosk. But it's
a little booth outside.
Get one free confession.
They're all free.
They're all free.
I almost said, imagine if you had to pay money for confession, and then I realized that's what indulgences were.
Damn,
bro.
Sorry, I can't say that.
It's like I can make fun of my own religion. You can't make fun of my religion. There's a line.
Fair. That's fair. You can't hate from outside the club.
You couldn't even get in. All right. Well, thank you all, brothers and sisters in Christ, for listening to this episode of the Socratic Cinema podcast. Today, we've been talking about Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird rather loosely, I will say. We hit a wide girth of topics today. But thank you again for listening. If you enjoyed the episode and you're on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode of the Socratic Cinema podcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts, write us a review, and if we deem it worthy, and by worthy I mean safe for work, we'll read it on air. And just like it up, drop a comment saying what you think about Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird, and share your Catholic school experience, or school Charlie, with some theological knowledge in the comments.
Why was that barbed at me?
I don't know.
Because I'm respectful.
Yes, because Kasey is respectful, Charlie. That's why.
I was curious. I was asking you about your religion.
What? There's a reason I didn't invite you guys to my confirmation party.
No.
Oh, I didn't get. I would have said Mazel Tov, James.
Oh, we would have stopped.
Jesus, and the podcast.
All right. Yeah, thanks again for listening, guys. We've been Socratic Cinema. Deus Volt. Adios.
What?
Oh, follow us on Patreon.
Oh, yeah. No. Adios.
Adios.